Hey there.
Hello, Hudson. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm driving and I don't have one of those phone holders. Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. You just stay in the car safe. We're good.
Thanks.
Yeah. No big deal. Yeah, I don't put my camera on in the car either because it's just yeah, see it's your most flattering angle too, right?
Oh, she said he did that. My thumb must have hit it right up my nostril. Very
Oh
like
my
it.
goodness.
Hopefully I haven't trimmed the nostril hairs in a while.
We all love
Oh
that
my
view. Thanks,
God.
Mark.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's awesome. You're good. You're good. It's not zoomed in enough for us to really get scared. You're good. Um, how we doing, friends?
Good.
Good. Are you guys just closed tomorrow or are you closed both days?
Both days.
So we're happy, right?
Yes. That's
Yes.
why everybody's not in the office. Do you see that?
I know. I see. Well, those of you that are here, I super appreciate it. I kind of assumed we'd have a low attendance today and no judgment in that. Just everybody needs a break sometimes. So let's jump into it. As more people show up, we'll add them in. And yeah, I want to respect your time. I got a few things that I want to talk about today. Feel like we totally covered the team meeting and you guys should be prepared. And if you're not, of course, you can reach out to me or watch that recording. I think you're good to go there. Um, One of the things that I want to start off with today is I want to talk about, since we're still early on, I want to talk about the ideal makeup of a bold room. And when I say ideal, what I mean is so that the participants have the best experience, so that you guys make the most additional income, because I know y'all love your people and you are your leadership. And so I know that you lead with heart, and I know that you all do like to get paid for your work. And I know that our owners do like to have a profit. So this is considering both of those worlds, people having the best experience and also the most profit potential for the market center. So it's pretty simple. It is you want 20% ish. You don't need to get like super critical of it and get 20% ish of the room should be your newer agents. So we're talking about people who they don't need to be brand new and yet they're not really producing, what whoever you would label as a new agent. People just getting started, definitely not cappers, anything like that. That should be like 20% of the room. All right. Another 20% should be top producing agents. Um, I've been in rooms before where we have a lot of top producers, and I've been in rooms before where we have almost none of them. When we have almost none of them, the quality of the bold, no matter what I do, is not going to be as good because we don't have the energy and the input and the experience of other people in the room. So we do want top producers, and yet we don't want to be so top producer heavy that all of your participants are capped and you make no extra money. So it's 20% new, 20% top producing agents, and then really that mighty middle, that's the rest. 60% mighty middle. You're people who are probably either they've never capped before and yet they've sold a few houses and they know what they're doing enough to at least do that. People who maybe have capped before and yet they've slipped back into capping. You're talking your quarter to half to three-quarter cappers. If you put the majority of, if those are the majority of the participants in bold, you guys over the months after bold are going to see such a huge bump in profit and owner profit and bonuses. And another great thing to think about in that type of makeup of a room is if you like Mary Hope, just because I'm looking at you and you're a team leader, like what if you had to guess, I don't need the exact number, like how many listings a month get taken in your market center?
Mark knows those numbers because he's really good at those numbers. Do you know those, Mark? We literally were
Yeah,
just
yeah,
looking at them.
we're over 100 on
Okay, you're
average.
over 100. Okay, so let's just call it
200.
100 for easy
Yeah.
math. Um, on any given month, how many of those listings or what percentage of those listings do you think are taken by cappers?
We were just right. It's about a little over 50%, Mark.
I don't know. I think it's probably more than that.
Or oh, maybe listings. We were just thinking all
Yeah.
closings. I think we were at
Yeah.
58%. cappers.
So,
Yeah, but in regards to those lists, yeah, I would say, I think the number, I don't know if it's the 80-20 number, but it's certainly
more
up
like
there.
70 at least. Yeah.
So the reason I ask is, I really want everybody participating in this fold. I know I've said this a bunch of times, and yet I feel it bears repeating. I know that all of your jobs are rather insane. I've been part of leadership with this company. I know that there's so many things you're supposed to do every day, and there's not enough time to do them all. And I want to make sure that you guys see the reason for the bold more than just like, hey, we do this and it's great. I mean, what if a sea of your non-cappers started to take
Yeah.
listing? Like the amount of impact in the short term that would have financially is huge. And then the cool thing is they probably become cappers. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do most cappers do though? If they're good and they're going to cap more than once, they're going to start growing and they're going to maybe start a team, or they start to gain influence in the market and now they're a referral opportunity for recruits. So everybody wins when we get those kind of people that at least know they can sell real estate because they've done it. When we get them to a higher production level, everything starts to change in your market center. So that's that ideal makeup. So as you're starting to build your roster and you guys are starting to get registrations, pay attention to that and you'll know as the weeks go by, like where you should be pushing more. Have you already got a bunch of your top producers? And of course, I would never say stop marketing to them. And yet maybe your efforts shift more towards that mighty middle. So just something to keep in mind. The next big thing for us, and this will be a continuous thing right up and through step one, is I mentioned when we first had our conversation that my plan was pretty simple, right? I told you it's ALC meeting, it's team meeting, and then you're going to go through your roster. I want to talk about that today. I want to make sure that we're equipped to do that at a high level. So if I go overly granular, it's because I care and I want to help. So just know that if you're like, we get it. I really do just desire to help, and I feel like we don't always know what to do with that. I want each market center to literally print out their roster. Like we need to print it out, because I'm sorry, I'm all about, look, I got my remarkable right here. Like I'm all about saving the planet and all that. And yet sometimes we just need paper to look at and have tangible things. And you guys will decide who's calling who. Typically team leader is going to call the top producers, and depending on market center size, that might be the top 10% or the top 20%, you decide. Then it usually goes MCA and then it goes from there. And yet I don't care what you do. You just want to break it up probably by production level is the easiest on who's going to call who at least to start. And then I just want you, and this is kind of why we want it printed, like I want you to start using a yellow, red, and green light system. All right. I want you to talk to these people. When you get a yes and they've actually registered, they're green. You don't need to bug them again. You're good. You're done. If anything, if they're an influencer, get them to help you, right? Green is we're good and we're done. They didn't say they were signing up. They actually signed up, because we all know that they can say it and that doesn't mean anything. All right. Yellow is going to be a lot. Yellow is going to be that person you spoke to that you could not get a firm yes on. You couldn't get their credit card to swipe. And yet it wasn't a hard no from them. They just weren't ready, or they had more questions, or they've got to do some soul searching or whatever stuff they told you, right? Red is only going to be for the people who, and every market center has some, and I'm not here to judge. Like the people that are like, if you ask me about bold one more time, I'm moving my license. We're not going to win that battle, and I don't want you to lose people. And yet that should be a pretty small percentage. Just if somebody really flips out on you over it or starts to get upset, I'm never going to ask you to talk to them again. Now, all those yellows though, so like, for example, Mary Hope, let's say that you talked to Jane Doe, and Jane Doe, you marked her yellow. Well, I would say, I'm sure you guys meet multiple times a week, and yet maybe once a week in your meeting, look at your rosters. What yellows do you have that somebody else on your leadership team has a great relationship with? And maybe they can call her this week and have a different type of conversation. Or maybe it's a money thing. And I find in my experience with leadership that a lot of times, if it's a money thing, it might be great to have your MCA connect with them because they can usually talk the talk and help them see why it would be smart to invest the money. So that's the whole point of the yellow. It's not necessarily that the same person calls them until they get a yes. It's that maybe we spread the love a little bit and we're smarter rather than harder. So does anybody have any questions around that concept? I know it's simple, but here's the deal though. In my experience, said with love, not you guys, many leadership teams don't really do it that way and they kind of just wing it and then they have subpar results, and nobody wins when that happens, right? So if you really, really track it, guys, you're gonna blow, the room's gonna be so full, you're gonna walk in like, what happened? So are there any questions around that that concept?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You just have the Metro crew here. So we're all kind of.
I totally see that, and that's cool. And I'm like, we record it for a reason, so I'll send that out. So let's do this. I would love for one of you, because here's the other thing that I see happen. I tend to look for pitfalls early. And a pitfall that I see a lot in bold launches is that leadership does the work. They have the one-on-one conversations, and yet the conversations, because we're busy, tend to be very like, hey, Bold's coming, do you want to go? And those don't, there's a very small percentage that works great for. It usually doesn't work great for most people. So I'd love to kind of just role play a basic conversation where I'm a leader, I'll be a team leader and somebody else can be the agent, and treat it like a care conversation. We can talk about it, or I can just do it in front of you guys. So will one of you volunteer to be my agent? It won't be difficult, I promise.
I think Cheryl wants to. She just jumped
That
on.
sounds great. I was like,
it's
leaders.
I was going to volunteer you, Mary Hope, but you beat me to it.
I talked enough already, so I think Cheryl's perfect.
I was like, it was the way that you all jumped in at the same time. It was so overwhelming. Cheryl, you got the easy part. You're an agent, right? You're just an agent in this opportunity here. Okay, so I'm calling you on the phone. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Cheryl?
It is. How are you? Who is this?
Hey, it's your team leader, Hudson. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm super good. Thank you for asking. Oh gosh, don't worry about it. Hey, that's gonna happen in real life. Nobody cares, right? I'm super good. Thanks for asking. It's been a little while since we last spoke, and I really just wanted to reach out and see how you're doing and how your business is doing. How are things going right now? We're halfway through the year.
It's good. It's definitely, there are challenges. Absolutely. It's not as great as I would like it to be, but I also haven't been really putting in the effort.
Oh,
It's
really?
summertime, and and the kids are now home from school, and it's been a little, these are just so you know, these are what I'm hearing from other agents.
Totally. Nope, that's what I want you to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I know I got to get back into it. It's really difficult right now with everything going on. And, I know I've dropped the ball on a few things.
Really, tell me a little bit more about that if you don't mind. And only because I want to help you. No judgment in anything we talk about.
Sure.
Where do you think you're dropping the ball?
I am not doing the lead gen I need to be doing. I'm really not. I think I am, or in my head, I'd like to think I am, but I'm really not. I know I should be spending more diligent time and carving out those blocks of time and sticking to it, and everything else is getting in the way.
I love that. What's everything else? If you had to give me your top three, what are the things that are getting in your way?
Well, I think putting out fires when it comes to other transactions that are currently going on. Distractions with family life, of course. And and then I start reading my email, and before you know it, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock, and the day seems like it's just disappeared.
Gosh, that's I hear it, and I've been there, and I think most agents have been there at some point, and it doesn't necessarily lead in the best direction though if we stay there. What was your goal for this year in closed transactions? Just make one up.
Well, my goal was 50 units.
50
Yeah.
units. Okay, cool. So we're halfway through the year. Where are you at?
I'm at, well, I'll lie, I'm at 15 units.
You're at 15. Okay, so goal was 50. We're on track if nothing changes for 30, which, hey, don't get me wrong, for some people that's a great year, right? What would the extra 20 units do for you and your family though? Like if you were to kind of right the ship and catch up and still end at 50, what would that do for your family?
Oh, it would help out a lot. There's so much I need to save for our retirement. I got some expenses and HELOCs I need to pay down and things like that. Yeah, it would definitely do a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a nice chunk of change.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like a nice chunk of change. And you know, it's interesting that you've shared what you've shared as far as kind of just being pulled a different direction. You know, families there, deals are there, the fires are there. I think that's life, right? We're always swirling around so many different things. We have an event coming up, and I
Mark just
really
put in
think,
there 20 deals is 200K, and I go, I got it.
yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
sorry.
yeah, no, you're good, you're good. So, yeah, I mean, we've got a great event coming up that I think could help you get not only back on track, probably get you caught up so that you could end the year at 50 if you really, really wanted to. We've got Bold coming up. Have you heard about it?
I have. I took it a while ago. I didn't really, it felt very militant and kind of, I just, that's not who I am. And it felt uncomfortable to me.
Got that. How long ago was that?
That was pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Would
Yeah.
you say you're the exact same person you were then, or do you think you've kind of changed at all?
Oh, I've definitely changed. Absolutely. Yes.
So, and it's interesting, I'm assuming most of you can say this as leaders. I've taken Bold multiple times myself, and, every experience is a little different. Every coach is a little bit different. And what might have felt not so comfortable last time might be different this time.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is Bold does have a massive track record of getting people into production and consistent lead generation, which I think might be really, really important for you. Did you think it might be something you should consider, even though you took it once and it wasn't really for you?
No, it's absolutely something I should consider. It's just like taking another training that you always pick up something new every time you take it. You could take the same training 5 times and get something new each time. So no, I mean, I'm open to taking it again.
So I'm going to stop. Thank you, by the way,
Yeah.
for being actually an awesome role play partner, because you didn't just say, oh, like you were great. Thank you for doing that. So you guys can go in different directions here. If you've got a good relationship with this person, you could probably press a little bit more, ask a few more questions, get them committed. I mean, that you really probably could. If you couldn't, then it's your decision on what you do from there. Do you just take the first step, or get them registered for first step, or do you connect them with me? Because it's when I'm doing a role play, it's hard because I want to be me. And I would have jumped in there. I mean, I can definitely relate to the being pulled in different directions. And I think that I could have had a conversation there if you guys would connect me with somebody where that was the real back and forth. The other thing is the whole militant, like that's not my style at all. I won't guess, and I could guess some of the coaches that might have been there that we're all different. Like I believe that we can be highly accountable, and we can also still have fun, and nobody has to go cry in the corner, right? So you guys decide what you do. What I really wanted to show you there is that we don't have to jump in both feet first and just Bold right down their throat, because that doesn't mean anything to them. We've got to get them thinking about where they're really going. And the reality is that I can't imagine that your market center is much different from all the other ones that I work with. And I got to guess that at least 80% of your agents are nowhere near being on goal. Even the ones that are doing great. Like maybe their production is still really good, and yet their goal was great, and they're not even near on track. So I really think if that's how we have our conversations, and here's the thing, all of your staff are equipped to have these conversations. So this does not need to just be team leaders. I mean, an awesome Dofi can have that conversation. Your agent services can have that conversation. Like it really doesn't need, I don't want the team leader to make all the calls. You'll die. It's too many people. I want you guys to spread this out and you're all capable of having this conversation. And the other thing I want to say about this is that I will happily make time to role play with any of you, including you watching this recording. You have somebody on your staff that isn't as confident in just general kind of conversation with the agents, please connect them with me. I'm happy to do it. Cheryl, go for it. I saw your hand goes up.
So I have to say the most meaningful conversations I've been having is when people come into the office and they see all of the purple. Because that's literally what hits them in the face at our Londonderry office is I got bold, like the letter balloons in purple, and they're blown up and hanging off the ceiling and tons of purple. And I know Kim has done a fabulous job with all of the purple stuff in our training room. But I'm wondering if maybe we should may make it even like throw up purple in like in the room, like in the, I know in the one of the entrance ways there's a lot of purple, but even like when you walk in where Megan is, because honestly I've had two vendors walk in and go, oh, I've taken bold. And I said, well, when did you take it? And so we had a full conversation, and I'm going to make sure he signed up because he agreed he would sign up. And then we had another vendor come in for a closing, and next thing I know, she's like, what's purple going on here? And we started talking about it, and sure enough, she was like, yeah, I think we got some people to do this. Yeah. And it was all because of the decorations.
Things like that go such a long way, and another 20 bucks at a dollar store will get you all the purple you ever needed. It does not have to be fancy, and it doesn't need to be perfect, and it doesn't even need to be pretty. We just need to get their attention, and that's another way to convert the yellows to greens, right? Like when it continues to be in their face. So I love that. Thank you for that. Any other questions around those conversations? Because I do have a couple other things to talk about. And yet these one-to-one conversations, we still have enough time now. You can go through your entire rosters. And guys, you'll have the best turnout you've ever had if we just slow down and have these conversations that you should be having anyways, right? I mean, that's part of the job. We're supposed to be doing this with our people. And I know that it's easy to slip on it because we have so many other things. Any other questions?
I'll just comment on that too. It's a perfect,
yeah, go for it.
In my conversations I've had, reminding our agents, this is the time to have conversations with their database because of the new changes, that you'd rather them have the conversations than others. And because I had one saying they went to one bold and it didn't go well. And I said, well, it's a different time. You have to be in conversation with your database. And this is a perfect way and accountability to be the one in those conversations. So it was just another, we have to be in conversation, but that's another big reason for them to be in bold so that they're held accountable to have those conversations with their database, or they're going to lose that piece of it.
The industry changes are massive, and they could be your best friend or they can put you out of business. And people have got to get in an environment where it's going to allow them to succeed through these changes rather than in spite of them. So I really, really love that. And same deal, guys, if you have anybody who's like, I had a bad experience with bold, like, don't be afraid to connect them with me. And I don't think, I mean, I got passion, and yet I don't think I've hard sold any of you at this point. I will not do it with them either. Like, I like to make sure people make the most educated decision as possible. If that decision is still not to take bold, that's cool. But if they're doing it because they had one coach that one time that they didn't like, and oh, by the way, I was going through a divorce at the time, and oh, by the way, I was really like, was it really bold, or was it the station in life that you were in? So don't be afraid to connect me with people. They're not going to hurt my feelings. So I'm not worried about that. So I love that. Kind of going in the same direction. I know we've already talked about it. The recruiting opportunity is huge, and I want to throw something out there. If you guys want to get as many recruits there as possible, and you should, like, I've had a lot of leadership before basically rename the event. Like, they don't market it to outsiders as bold because they don't know what bold is, and they don't want to come to a Keller Williams event. And you guys have this great opportunity because you are at an offsite venue. It's not at your brokerage. Like, you can call it whatever you want to call it. A 7-week, real estate coaching and training, whatever. Like, don't be afraid to play with the verbiage of what we're doing to get more interest from outside people. I think you could set up a great like ad campaign that went out and didn't call it bold and didn't call it Keller Williams and just kind of described what the class does, kind of the hooks of it. And I really think you could massively fill the room. I mean, we had a bold last year. Yeah, it was in Connecticut, and I can't remember what city. Anyways, so it was in Connecticut. It was up, in your at least general neck of the woods. And they had 30 something recruits in the room. It was the highest we had last year. And I talked to the coach the other day, and he said last he checked, because he had followed up a few times after Bold, they had 21 had joined Keller Williams. So I really, I want you to get your agents in there first and foremost. And yet I find that I got like a 50-50 shot at some bolds. They take full advantage of the recruiting opportunities and others don't even get one in there. And it's such a missed opportunity. And my goodness, does it make your job easy if they're there for 7 weeks? They're just going to say, hey, how do I sign up? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So keep that in mind. And then the only other thing that I have for you guys is next week we have our call. The week after, I am on an airplane during our call, our Zoom, I should say. I don't want to take a week off because I don't want us to, we're in momentum. You guys are crushing it. I don't know if you saw the email. You guys are the #2 launch in the entire country right now of all bolds. And we're going to get to #1 and we're just going to smoke everybody else. And I want to keep you guys, and I don't really care about that. I say it to motivate you guys. I want you guys to have a great bold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that to Tuesday instead of Wednesday at the same time. I understand that may mean that some of you aren't able to be there. If you can be there, please be there. I promise to make it valuable. And if you can't, watch the recording. I thought about it and I really don't want to take a week off, not because you guys aren't self-sufficient, just because I don't want to risk us losing momentum. So when you see that change in the calendar, I don't want you to be like, hey, you didn't tell me. So I'm going to change that. It is the 2 calls from now. It'll change from Wednesday to Tuesday. Do you guys have any other questions, comments, grievances that you'd like to share? Otherwise, I will give you a couple minutes back. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay. Continue to reach out if you need anything. Hey, by the way, I put that contest out there and you, Mary Hope, are only 2 more registrations away from getting lunch for your whole leadership team next week, and it could be as bougie as you want it to be. So I know that it's a long weekend, and yet if you happen to have 2 other people in your pocket, go ahead and go get them registered.
It does help. I have 2 family members in my pocket who haven't registered. So I think you guys get lunch.
I love it. Well, go get it done.
One of them I have the credit card for. So
I love it. Well, go get it done so we can get you guys lunch because you've been crushing it. And the other thing I do want to throw out there is, and again, this is for anybody watching, guys, if your leadership or if you have leadership members that you know are going to take bold and they're not already signed up, grab the Market Center credit card and get them signed up. It makes you look good. It's 1 registration you don't have to worry about. It's low-hanging fruit, and why not go for it? So I want you guys to have the most fun the next couple of days that you have off. Stay safe, have fun, enjoy, get rest, and we're going to crush it next week.
Hudson, before we go, what's been your largest first step to bold, and what's been your largest bold?
Again, things that you guys have already clocked me because I own it, that I'm very competitive. I had the largest bold ever, and it had 200 people in it at technically 199. So that's the largest bold ever. And that was mine. That was in Orlando, Florida. I also have the largest digital bold ever, which had 275 people registered. My largest first step registration wise was like 315. Actual show though, the largest I've ever had was 220.
Wow. Where was that?
Feel free to break it. The largest ever registered was Austin. The show rate was not amazing.
Yep.
The largest ever first step was also the Orlando one that ended up being 200.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Bold will cut us off at 200. So feel free to get ambitious and just know that we will get cut off at 200.
Good.
I know that we'll hit our goal of 100. You guys have been crushing it so far. We can go bigger. And that's not about me. That's about you and the impact on your market center. So just keep pushing. Use me as a resource. Send me people to follow up with. Use and abuse me. I am here to serve you and make sure that this Bold is mind-blowing. So thank you. I appreciate you. Go have fun. Go home. If you're not
Happy
already
4th of
homeless,
July
if
to
you're
you,
home.
Hudson.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the
Thanks,
video
Hudson. You
today.
too.
Hudson.
Oh, it's my
got a
pleasure.
video. We're going to be putting that out to our people. So
Yeah, put
great.
it all over social media. They'll have free time the next couple of days since they don't
Yeah,
know what to do
we
with
will.
themselves. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.